Scholars worldwide can agree that digital literacy is important to education. However, many educators are frustrated with the lack of professional development. We went to the Summer Institute in Digital Literacy to gain some perspectives as to why it is important for school districts to fund professional development in digital literacy.
So for many years ago, I've been studying digital literacies, and there aren't many conferences or venues quite like the Summer Institute in Digital Literacies at University of Rhode Island. And knowing that someone like Renee Hobbs or Julie Coiro is co-directing this, it's a no-brainer for somebody who's really interested in this field.
I came to the Summer Institute in Digital Literacy at URI because I crave the experiences to talk about digital media, to examine how it's impacting our students' learning and their lives, and to come up with strategies to determine how to pull this culture into the classroom.
They don't teach us this stuff. They don't teach us these cool tools, and a lot of schools have that old school model of the teachers in front of the room, pen and pencil. In college, half the time we weren't even allowed to use our laptops. So how do you expect us to be using different tools and innovation when we don't even know how to do it ourselves?
The kids are growing up in an era when their lives are completely saturated with media, primarily visual media, and all they're doing is ingesting, taking, right? Consumerism. We want them to be thoughtful creators of media, to know how their message can be articulated, shared, and possibly influence others in a community in a very positive way.
I think since the digital native, digital immigrant concept was created 2001 by Prensky, it's been debunked and kind of really not working, not in a K-12 and not in the university. When you're getting students, they might know how to hack some stuff. Some students will know how to find information on YouTube, to plagiarize from Wikipedia, but to be really digital and media literate, it's a different story. This professional development was based and structured according to our philosophy that students should lead and the power should be by the learner.
Coming back with a lot of the tools and applications I've learned, specifically Adobe Spark, Canva, and things like that, I'll be able to show my students, which broadens their horizons for ways that they can respond to text, utilize text, create projects, presentations, things they wouldn't have had the opportunity to do before, especially coming from a place where my students have a lot of IEPs, they have special needs. Finding ways that I can make the material more accessible for them. I think I've learned a lot of techniques here.
I'm learning ideas. So for instance, Sue Luft, who's one of our team members this week, shared graphic novels. And then I went to a session with Paul, her colleague, who talked about audio. And I thought, I could have students take one page of a graphic novel and examine the mood, the tone, the character's emotional feeling, and create an audio mix to represent that. So I'm starting to see how the work of everyone here could be integrated and remixed to create yet new ideas for incorporating digital literacy. It's so exciting. And then students have a product that they're proud of, that they share, and it challenges them to think not only about the text, but the image and the sound, which is multimodal learning, a huge piece of our digital literacy work.
We have a lot of technology that's kind of just almost dumped on us in a way, and without real training or learning around how to use it effectively and to really use it so the students can use it for their storytelling and really to use it in a positive way and to express themselves with the technology that we have. So I think that's what I've really gotten out of this program.
One big piece of this is the professional learning network, and our responsibility in modern times and as 21st century teachers is to build a strong professional learning network. And so from being a part of this conference, I've met many teachers, many participants, many presenters and faculty who add to that work that I'm doing in my classroom by learning from them. The way that it affects my students is that, that growth is then given to them. Whatever I have, they get. If I don't grow, they don't grow.
The problem of conceptualizing digital literacy. Why should I come for a summer institute in digital literacy? What is this thing, and how is it connected to what I'm doing?
One of the barriers would be that the cost is really out of my pocket. I get a little reimbursement from my district, and so I think maybe that might be, but it's part of my program, so I'm willing to spend the money for that. And also the time. I think that obviously it's a week out of my summer, but I'm glad to be here and I'm happy to be doing it. But I think that maybe that would be a barrier for people in my position at my school.
The other piece too is that sometimes there are priorities. So we can all agree that a conference like this is a priority, but in my role, I get to see the plethora of priorities that are there for the district. And sometimes this just doesn't come up as a priority of priorities in the moment. If we take the priority of social emotional learning, it's on the tips of our minds. The students' wellness and safety is of course our number one priority, but digital literacy is part of that social emotional well-being. How many of our kids are coming to school with toxic stress brought on by their interactions with the world through digital tools until all hours of the night and not being able to understand and connect in appropriate ways? So digital literacy is the way of teaching kids how to manage these interactions. So we can't afford not to send teachers and administrators, teacher leaders, or people who we feel have leadership abilities to a conference like this.
Everything that a school is doing should be focused around what's in the best interest of these students who are coming through. How are we best preparing these students for the futures that they're going into? And if we're preparing students to enter this world and we don't equip them with the skill set to make sense of it all and to navigate it responsibly and well-informed, then we're doing them a disservice.
And everybody wants to be respected, everybody wants to learn, everybody wants to grow, and everybody wants to be productive, contributing members of their group, right? You send people to a conference where they can nourish their professional needs. You're sending a message to them that you're a valued member of our learning community, and if you go to a place where you believe you can learn new ideas and learn new resources and then bring that back home and share that with our community, we're all for it.
I would say to my administration in particular, we are a one-to-one technology school, blended learning. We claim to be advancing in the technology world. So if you truly want to advance the school, if you truly want to call yourself a technology-driven school, you need to be sending your teachers to conferences that are innovative, conferences that are fostering these ideas that you claim you are so passionate about. And the digital literacy in particular, again, you claim that all subjects utilize reading, utilize writing, utilize literacy. So this isn't only for English teachers, this is for science, math, social studies, because we need to empower our students, give them the tools and the techniques that they need in order to be the best that they can be. And that starts with coming to conferences such as this one.
Literacy undergirds our experiences with each other and with the world, and now more than ever it connects not only our students to school but to their content areas. So media literacy and digital literacy become not an extra subject that teachers have to teach, but a pedagogy for how we teach. So it is part of what we're already doing, and I would encourage administrators to come and learn that, experience that, and engage in those ideas, and then bring teachers the next year and grow it in your community together.